Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you the process of how I made this big yellow taxi. I just got an idea in the middle of the night and decided to go with it. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I've got here the road trip die, and I'm just going to be using the car parts. I'm not going to use the suitcase, the sign, or anything. And then you see there I've got some foiled paper. I foiled that this morning. I took video of foiling it, but that's pretty boring, so I left it out. So I've got all the car pieces here, and I'm going to cut them out. I'm going to cut the one that is supposed to be beige out of this silvery cardstock that I got from Simon Says Stamp. And then I'm going to cut the black one out of course, black cardstock, and I'm going to use the Distress Black Heavy Stock. And then the rest I'm going to cut out of watercolor. Now let me just say that I left most of my mistakes in here because I wanted you to see that, you know, when you're coming up with an idea, it can be a struggle. So I've got them all cut out, and I know I want my cab to be yellow, so I'm going to do some coloring. So the parts that say blue on the Sizzix dies, I'm going to do yellow. So I'm going to do 2 shades of yellow, and I'm going to use Simon Hurley ink. I want to use ink rather than oxide, and I want the color to be really, really intense. So this is slippery when wet, and I'm just, you know, laying the color down on it. Now a lot of the color is not even going to show because it's going to get buried by the checkers on the cab. But you know, some of it's going to show, and I show later in the video a big mistake I make on this one. So I end up having to do this piece over again because I tried to fit it back into the die and I ended up cutting its roof off. So these kinds of things happen. Then I'm going to color the other yellow one in Shooting Star because it's kind of more of a highlight color on the car. And I'm not even cleaning my brush off. I'm just kind of going in with the Shooting Star. And I like to color my dies after I've cut them out so that the color gets in, you know, in all the cracks and crevices. You can color it first if you want to. I ended up doing that when I had to do my do-over piece. So this is a rather longish video. I don't mind if you speed me up 2 times. I find videos sped up twice very pleasant. So, you know, it makes people's voice funny, and when they laugh, it's just hilarious. I love it. So I'm double entertained. So I've got to get my checkers on here, right? And so my first idea here is to lay the checkers down and try and fit it all into the die and cut it out. Well, that's my first mistake. So first I'm going to struggle with getting the checkers laying down on here because my tape doesn't want to stick because of the wet ink. And so I'm just going to fight and fight and fight with it till I get it to stay stuck down, and it's still not going to stay stuck down. Watch. It's just going to come right back up. Ah, the struggles of a crafter. Okay, fine. Let me try something different. I'm just kind of laying the checkers just a little bit below the horizontal line of the top portion of the car body. There, I got all those words out all in one. Let's see, can we lift this up? Nope, it moved. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm telling you. Okay, I have an idea. Let's just glue it down. All right, let's do that. We'll just lightly glue it down so it doesn't move. And then try and fit it back into the die, but that's where the trouble starts. So it seems to fit back in, but apparently between moving from my craft desk over to my Vagabond, it shifted on me. So see, with best intentions, I'm trying to stick it in here. But yeah, it doesn't work out. So, I mean, you do what you have to do in the process of an idea that you want to come to life. So I'm going to tape it all down anyway because, yeah, I obviously don't know that I'm going to muck it up until I get back. So let's go ahead and go muck this up. trying to pick it up. Be right back. Okay, so where am I? Could have sworn I cut that part out. See, I didn't even cut that part out. So now you're just sitting here staring at my desk. And I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I just did it an hour ago. Well, at any rate, I'm sure I'll be back. Either that or I had my video paused when I thought I was videoing. I don't know. I don't know. Let me see here. Okay, there I am. See? Look what happened. I cut the top right off. Okay, plan B. Have to do a plan B now. First get my tape out of my die, and then I'm going to get another piece of watercolor paper, and this time I'm just going to color the paper first. I'm just going to go straight pad to paper, and then I'll go in with my brush as well. And the reason for that is because it just looked a little choppy to me, and I wanted it just a little bit smoother. So I'll go in with my brush and just, you know, try and fill in some of that choppiness there. Just coloring enough that will cover the car. Yep, and I can see that I've also got myself off camera and don't realize it. Okay, so how am I going to do this? I'm going to grab another one of these strips. I'm glad I grabbed extra. I'm going to lay it on here. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to lay it all down. Make sure it's nice and straight. Ish. I think I'll throw a piece of tape on there just to hold it straight-ish. Yep, I'm just batting zero today with getting anything to stay. All right, now I am going to beat this thing. I'm going to beat it. There. Nice try. Nice try, little car. Now I'm going to go cut them both out together. That's going to be the ticket. All right, I've got them cut out. And again, I'm using my Vagabond 2. I'm going to throw this down and see if it comes out, but it's not going to. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It is what it is. Get my tape off of here. Let's try that again. One more. Nope. All right. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. That's what these holes are for. You have to remember that I have, you know, stuff tightly in here because I've got it doubled up here, and I've got tape on there and everything else. So I'm going to carefully pull my tape off, carefully. Don't rip it. And make sure everything's poked out that's supposed to be poked out. And then I can just glue it straight down there. I've got a little piece of tape on the back of that, but I need to poke that out too. Come on out. Get the tape off first, and then the other piece should just pop right out. Just fight with this a little bit. There we go. Now, there was my second mistake. I don't know if you saw that or not, but a piece of the back ripped off with that. So that's going to be a problem. And you'll see later how it becomes a problem. So I'll go ahead and just put some glue on this, and not too heavy on the glue. And glue it directly down to that car piece. Just make sure everything matches up. And we're golden. Now ideally my checkerboard would have been smaller because the yellow cabs actually have the 3 rows of checks on them, but this is the smallest I have, so this is what we went with. Okay, now I'm going to do the same with this one, only this time I'm going to make an attempt. First I'm going to fiddle with it quite a lot here. What I want to make sure is that my checkers match. So I'm just kind of messing with it, trying to figure out how am I going to get this to cut out with the checkers matching. And in this case, I'm just going to glue this bad boy down. I'm not even going to mess with my tape this time. Just in a couple little spots, and I am going to attempt to fit this back into the die since there's no teeny tiny parts that I'll lose, like at the top part of the car. The main thing is that you need them to match, right? So it's a little bit tricky, but it can be done. And this one, I'm going to make sure that I have everything tucked into where it needs to be tucked in, and tape it so it doesn't move. And that's okay, my machine can cut the tape too. We'll go ahead and cut that out. All right, let's grab the tape off of here. Get all the little bits out that need to come out. And it's partially glued down on there already, so we're in good shape with that. Just need to add a little bit more glue on the little loose ends. Try and pull this out of here without ripping anything. There we go, voila. Now I can try and attempt to get these other little pieces out. I think that's everybody. Yep, just this little spot right here. I just have stuff jumping in my way. Perfect. All right, happy about that. I'm just going to glue up those little loose ends and then glue that piece down, and the rest is cake, y'all. It's just busy making stuff. This was by far the toughest part. So if you got what you needed out of this, then yeah, you can skip ahead if you want to. Now I'm going to grunge this up with the Slippery When Wet a little bit. So I want that yellow just a little bit darker, because the yellow cabs are kind of a, I don't know, they're a dark yellow, not kind of an orangey yellow. I don't know. They're in your face yellow. That's the whole point, right? So you can see them. You can see them coming. And I looked at a lot of pictures of them before I started this to just kind of see how, you know, how I might work it out with this little car. Now, what's unrealistic about this, obviously, is cabs are never two-door cars. They're four-door cars. And I thought about it for a minute until I started looking at it. I thought about stretching out the car, but I could not wrap my head around the math of doing it. So I said, forget it. It's make-believe. It's for fun. It's not, you know, the windows are big enough to just hop right in without using a door. So I left it two-doored. Maybe another day we'll stretch this bad boy out, make it into a limo or something. Might be fun. It's a matter of the placement of the doors and the top frame. So now I'm going to glue these itty-bitty pieces on, which are, you know, basically highlights. And on the car, they are another shade of blue. On the sample car that Tim did, they're another shade of blue. I decided to make them white because yellow's not going to work against the black and white checkers. So I felt like white was going to be the best highlight color. And I do leave the highlights off of the headlight and tail light. You can see that thing moved on me and I didn't even notice it, but it's okay. It's still going to be just fine. I am not going to let myself stress out after going through all of that checkerboard stuff. I'm just going to let it be. I will let it go. Okay, I'll get this other little piece glued down. Then we'll start working on the undercarriage or the back side of the car. That part's, to me, those parts, getting those tiny parts on is difficult, especially trying to do it without getting a bunch of glue everywhere. So it's going to go, This one here is supposed to be gray, so I'm going to color this one. And I'm going to color it gray and yellow. So I'm going to color this part of the top part yellow, and the hubcaps, I want the hubcaps to be yellow, because that's what I saw in a lot of the pictures that I looked at online, was that the hubcaps were yellow on the yellow cabs. So I'm just kind of getting the top parts of this, and then I'll get the steering wheel and the headlight and tail light with the gray. No, I mean, those are the only parts that are going to show, so the rest doesn't really matter. Though I'm a little confused about that piece that's beneath the steering wheel. I'm not sure. I guess that's supposed to be a shadow. I'm really not sure what it is. If anybody knows, if it's not a shadow, let me know in the comments down below. To me, I don't know. I just don't know what that is. And I didn't put a meter inside of here. I probably, in hindsight, could have made one. But, nah, it's okay. Generally, you wouldn't see it because our driver is going to be in the way of it anyway. And by the way, I don't have any people that I like to drive this car, so I'm going to have cats driving it because that's just my thing. So then what's going to happen is that the piece that says beige is the very back piece, and I'm going to put that on, and then this piece comes on next, and then the black piece, because you'll see that's where the tires are. So you've got the highlight for the hubcaps, you've got the hubcaps, you've got the tires, then you've got the car. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And whenever you're gluing to that silvery paper, that sort of galvanized looking paper, it's really slippery. So when you're pushing down, you want to kind of be careful how you're pushing, because you can end up pushing it, excuse me, you can end up pushing it where you didn't want it and not even realize it. I mean, that's at least for me how things work. So I'm just going to kind of match these up at the bottom, and then everything else will fall together perfectly. And just give a light, I'm just giving a light push to that. See what I mean? It moves really, really easy. So you want to just kind of lightly push down. And then I'll grab a paper towel and dab up any excess glue while I'm pressing down on it. Okay, there's that piece. Now we'll do our black piece. Lovely, lovely. This black paper, I know, every time I use it, I rave about it. So here I go again. This heavy stock, black heavy stock from Tim Holtz and Ranger. Love, love, love this paper. I bought 2 or 3 packs of it from Scrappy Shack. I try to hit them when they're on sale. Wednesdays, you got to watch for Wednesdays. That's when Scrappy Shack has their Wild Wednesdays, and you can get some heck of a good bargains on that on Wednesdays. So if you're not already signed up for their newsletter, you might want to do it so you get a reminder on Wednesdays and you can grab stuff before it runs out of stock. I got some Hero Art stuff for 40% off. Stuff that I probably normally wouldn't buy, but 40% off? Come on. Okay, so this piece needs to go on next. And here's you're going to see what's going to happen here is I'm going to mess it up. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave the mess up in the video, and I'm going to leave the mess up on the car because I did way too much work there. So you see there where I'm trying to pull that loose piece off? Don't do that. Bad idea. Trim it with scissors. Look what happened. I just completely wrecked that post. I'm gonna glue it back together, kind of bandage it back together best I can, and just glue it down the way it is, because that was way too much work to do over. So don't be a me. Don't tear those extra pieces off. That will just wreck it. And here I am, just so flustered by it, I can't even get my glue on straight. I'll live with it, you know. See, there I can see I figured out that I moved my other pieces too and didn't realize. It's fine. I'm just going to leave it. Just going to leave it. Sometimes you just got to leave it. That's all. It still turns out really cute, and you wouldn't even notice if you weren't making it yourself and so OCD about everything being perfect, which is me. So I'm going to match this up with the top end. I'm going to get those pieces to stick down, and then I'm going to adjust that wonky piece best I can with my tweezers without messing it up further, because it's like really thin and stretched out and weird. Just try and move it over best I can and call it a day. That's it. I'm calling it. I'm not I'm going to end up tearing the whole doggone thing off. I imagine I could cut another one and lay it down on there, but nah. We've gone this far. We'll leave it. You know, Taxi has a little ding in it. You know, it's not a brand new cab. Now I'm just picking off any excess glue, and I do want to grunge this up a little bit, but let's find a background now. So I make backgrounds, and even if I don't like them, I keep them. I want to find something I'm going to like this car sitting on. Let's see. Do I like it here? Yeah, I like it there. Do I like it here? Yeah, I like it there. Do I like it here? Nah, it kind of gets lost there. So I'll find a home for that one. That's pretty, but it's too pink. That's okay, but too grungy. I love this one, but it doesn't go at all. So I'm going for this one. That one, I painted those little streaks on there with a piece of wet paint string. Yeah, this is the one we're going for. Just experimenting, you know, and so I kept it. Wasn't crazy about it, but I kept it because I thought, you know what, there's some scene that I'm going to be able to use this in, or some butterfly I can die cut or something. So I keep them all. So next thing I want to do is I want to create my scene, but I need my little sign. So I created a little sign in Photoshop. I tried to do it by hand, but I could not get the word yellow in a little teeny tiny oval. I just kept trying, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to spend all day. I don't even have that good of penmanship. Let's just go make one in Photoshop and print it out. So that's what I did. And I put that file up in the files on the Not Afraid of Color Facebook site. If you want it, you can help yourself. It's about a 1/2 inch file. I saved it as a PNG file, but it fits perfectly on there as a little sign. Okay, so I don't know why I'm pointing at the car, but I'm definitely pointing at the car. Moving on from there, let's go ahead and start stamping out our background, our scene, our city scene. So I probably have like a city type stencil. I struggle with this magnet. Yeah, there's piece of tape on it. Doesn't mean I can grab it. I have arthritis in my hands and they just don't like to grab very much. I'm just going to kind of place my car where I think I might want it. Because it's going to have, you know, road or dirt or imaginary plane beneath it. And I'm going to grab my Rockstar Cityscape. I really wish that I had a San Francisco scene background. Go away, fly. But I don't, and that's that. So this works fine. It kind of has something that might resemble one of the skyscrapers in San Francisco. But it's kind of like any city. It's like the city of Townsville. I don't know. So I'll go ahead and get some ink down, and yeah, the stamp moved on me. I'm telling you, I had one calamity after another here and still managed to muddle this card together. My stamp cling is losing its clingy, so I'm going to place it back on here again. I just kind of rubbed on it with some of the oil from my fingers, hoping it'll stick better to my MISTI. And let's try this again. All right. Going down with my VersaFine Clair. I like using it because it's pigment and it's dark. And it'll kind of cover, sort of ish, cover some of those little stringy streaks. But also not, which is I'm good with. Excuse me. So 2 stamps and we're good here. Excuse me. I would pause the video, but I'll get lost. But I think I'm going to have to. I'll be right back. Okay. So now I want to make my sort of dark area, my road, my plane, whatever, what have you. I'm going to grab just my Black Soot Distress ink. And, you know, first let's put some texture on here. So I'm going to grab this ledger script. And I'm just going to stamp it down in a couple of spots. No acrylic block or anything. I'm just going to take the plain old rubbery stamp and just kind of pick a couple of spots and stamp it down. I don't want to cover the whole thing, but I want a good portion of it covered. Just for the fun of it, because it's what we do, right? Let's do a little bit right here. And I'm losing my voice. I think a fly flew down my throat. I don't know. There, I'm done with texture. And I end up cutting most of that off anyway. Now I'm going to go in with my basic ground scene with my distress ink. And I'm just using a foam blender, one of the flat ones. And just making this darker and bringing some of the darkness up into the city because, yeah, that's how they are, right? I don't know. I mean, some cities. Generally, there's smog. Or it could be fog. I don't know. So I'm not going completely black with it. You see, I'm just creating a plane so that there's perspective. Now, I think I'm good with that. I may go in a little bit darker. Let's grab my car, and what I'm doing here is looking for my missing car, because you guys know. There it is. Okay, now deciding again where I want my car, just kind of eyeballing it, seeing what makes me happy, if it makes me happy. Yep, I want more darkness in here, just a little bit. But again, I don't want to cover the whole thing. So I've got kind of a vignette sort of going on there. Okay, yeah, better. Now I'm going to grunge up the car a little bit too. Because, you know, it's a taxi cab. It's not a brand new car. It's been running around the city. It's going to be dirty. So we're going to get it dirty, but first I'm going to get its little sign dirty. So I'll just grunge around the edges of that sign with the same, no extra ink on there, just with the black soot. And then I'm going to grab the car and I'm going to go get it dirty. So all that work to color it in, just to mess it up. That's okay, right? It just adds to the realism of the fake car and the fake city. Get those hubcaps dirty. They need to be pretty dirty because they're closest to the road. You want the dirt to kind of, if it was all shiny and bright, it would just, to me, not fit in the scene. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue our little Yellow Cab Company sign on. And maybe it's crooked, maybe it's not. Doesn't matter. What I want now is, I think I want a driver, but first I want to trim this down to where I'm going to trim it to 5 1/4 by 4. So I can trim off some of that funky edge there, which I don't mind. I mean, it's pretty, but I need it to be even, so I'm not going to leave it. And then I'm going to cut about 1/4 inch off of each side, so I've got 4 inches here, and this will be a landscape card. Okay. Good with that. Go ahead and grunge around the edges here. And again, just using black because it's, you know, just pulls the whole scene together. All right, now, do I want a driver? Baby, you can drive my car. Wah, 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 wah. I definitely want a driver. Definitely need a driver, but you don't have to have a driver. You can just be a parked cab. Certainly you could put a paper doll in there if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that. So I've got this cat that I'd already cut out, and I really like him, but he's just way too big for the top of that cab. So I'm going to grab the dies again here. And this, I used this one for the last one. I'm going to use that one again. And the only way I can really find a die is by dumping them all out. So that's what I'm going to do. Where are you, little guy? Because he almost looks like he's driving. And I've got a little scrap here left over from where I cut the car out. So I'm going to try and fit him in the scrap somewhere. Yep, he'll fit right there. I'll go cut him out and be right back. Okay, got him cut out. Let's see if I can get him to come out by throwing him down. I can't even throw him down. Never mind. We'll just use the pokey tool. Yeah, I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. I woke up with this idea and I couldn't go back to sleep. I had to get up and execute it. And so, of course, before I make a video, I practice. And that's why you saw me post one of them on Instagram, and that's why there's 2 posted in here. Because I thought about it and I was like, I don't think I want to do that video. It's too difficult. And then I'm like, you know what? Just go for it. Yeah, if nobody watches it, that's okay too. Yeah, it's out there for the world. So kind of placing him where I think I want him and then grabbing both of them with my tweezers, my extra fingers I like to call them. And then I'll go ahead and glue his little butt down there, part of his tail, so he doesn't move on me. I got a lot of excess glue on there. Just go ahead and wipe that off. Oh yeah, see, there we go. And then I'm going to pop this whole thing up so that it kind of, you know, stands out even more. So I'm going to find a card base here, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use a black card base or if I'm going to use a craft card base. I'm kind of digging through my card bases that you can't see me doing right there. Okay, here's a black one. Black's okay. It's okay. I think I'm going to go with craft though. I think I prefer it on the craft this time. So that black is not black enough for me. And I am not going to use my Ranger Black Heavy Stock as a card base ever. That's a waste of wonderful card. I mean, I guess if I was making a card for someone really special, I mean, that stuff's like $1 a piece. Maybe more, maybe $2 a piece. I think I paid, I don't know, $11.99 for 5 sheets. So $1.10, $1.25. So I hate wasting it. All right, so I'm gonna take this extra cat and I'm gonna put this extra cat inside. So we do have an inside of a card as well. And that's where my sentiment's gonna go, because I'm just not crazy about sentiments on the outside. I feel like it's not artwork anymore. And I realize I'm not an artist, but to me this still is like artwork. And if you start putting words on it, unless you know, it's a collage type situation, I feel like it's, nah, never mind. So my favorite thing to do for dinner, make for dinner, is reservations, is the one I'm going to use, because it kind of fits with the taxi cab theme. Because we're going to go out for dinner and we're going to take a cab because we don't want to drive in the city. There we go. Now all we have to do is pop up our driving cat and we'll be golden. So I've got these little foam pads from Simon Says Stamp, and they're black, which is cool. I'm just going to place them all around on here. So we're almost done with the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry it was so long, but if you do like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments or emotional outbursts, please, by all means, use the comment section below, because I'm happy to hear whatever you have to say. You say, Tracy, have you lost your mind? Or, way cool, I can't wait to try this. Either one, I'm good. Now I'm looking for my little bit flatter ones for the cat's head, but I have no idea where I put them, and I'm not wanting to waste more time looking for them. So I'll go ahead and use one of these regular ones that I just used. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I go live most Thursdays and Fridays, sometimes not. I took myself off of a schedule just because, you know, I already work, and I've already explained that, so I won't go over that again. But, you know, my aim is to do such. If I do it, great. If I don't, well, nobody's going to be disappointed because they're not going to expect it. I'll probably go live tonight. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If I can think of something to do. I hate coming on there with nothing to do. Although I could do, it's a lot of fun to do audience choice. Let the audience tell me what to do. Luckily, I don't have that many people in my audience, so it'll take long. All right, there we go. And then I just glued the top straight down to the page. I don't want it flopping loose, if I'm going to mail this card. That's it. I hope you like it. Thanks so much for coming to hang out with me. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.